Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Nigel Casimir, Telecom Specialist at the Caribbean Telecommunications Union Secretariat, and happy to welcome everyone to this morning's or today's meeting of the Caribbean Spectrum Management Task Force. As you can see, we are meeting virtually via the Zoom platform. Our Secretariat staff will serve the kind of well, I guess the Secretariat function for the meeting. We'll organize the Zoom logistics and so on. And at the point in time when we are taking inputs from the floor, we'll ask you to indicate your desire to speak by using the raise hand feature in Zoom. And if you go to the bottom of the Zoom window under reactions, there is, you click reactions and there is a raise hand option, and that would make you visible so that whoever is chairing the particular session would be able to respond to you. All right. Notwithstanding that, it is meant to simulate a physical meeting, and usually in our meetings, we wouldn't have the opportunity to maybe make a comment where it might be necessary to do so very quickly for clarification or whatever. During the discussions, that would still be possible if necessary, but only if necessary. But the preference is for you to use the raise hand option. The and so on have been circulated beforehand. I'll invite you to have a window open to the CTU webpage where you can find other documents and information associated with the meeting. The chair for our meeting is ECTEL, Mr. Alvin Augustine, but he is not yet with us. Our vice chair is Jamaica, the Spectrum Management Authority of Jamaica. They are already present. So what we will do is begin, because it is the time to begin, and I would ask our Secretariat staff to get us started in normal CTU fashion with an invocation, please.
Lord, I will lift my eyes to the hills, knowing my help is coming from you. Your peace you give me in time of the storm. You are the source of my strength. You are the strength of my life. I lift my hands in total praise to you.
Thank you very much. Good morning again. We are, well, quite privileged, I think, in the task force this morning to be joined, and I think not just joined right now, but I think we should have him present for the whole day. Our new Secretary General, Mr. Rodney Taylor. He's been SG just over 3 months. March, April, May, yeah, well, almost 4 months now. As someone said in another meeting that we were in recently, not so spanking new anymore. Maybe the shine is off the ball, but still, you know, very, very dynamic in terms of what we want to do and get done here at the CTU under new leadership. So I would like to welcome now and invite Mr. Rodney Taylor, CTU Secretary General, to give some welcome remarks. Rodney.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Nigel, for the introduction. I don't have a prepared speech. My job really today was just really to welcome everyone and thank you for the work that you have been doing in the Spectrum Management Task Force. I want to thank the chair. I'm not sure if he's joined us yet, Mr. Alvin Augustin. But my participation today is really to get a first-hand experience and knowledge working with the Spectrum Management Task Force, with the work that the Spectrum Management Task Force is doing. It's the second one for the year, but the first one since I've joined, as Nigel pointed out. So I thought that it would be good to spend the day, and certainly I'm looking forward to the presentations this afternoon by our industry stakeholders. And I see a lot of familiar faces or names, I should say, even if I'm not seeing the faces. I see my colleague Renee Evelyn, where I worked with him for some time. Linda Wellstein, hello Linda. Julian Wilkins and Chris Cicheran and others that I've worked with in the past in different capacities. Of course, I also spent a few years at the CTU before rejoining as SG, so I would have met most of you in the past and looking forward to a physical meeting where we can, make a better acquaintance. So the work that you're doing obviously is very important. The CTU is the lead agency for the ICT cluster within CARICOM, and we have responsibility for the implementation of the single ICT space. And one of the key components of that is the regionally harmonized ICT policy, legal and regulatory regime. And of course, harmonized spectrum planning and allocation is a key part of that. And it will become increasingly important as the demand for data skyrockets with the Internet of Things, smart cities, and with the need to connect the unconnected globally, but certainly within the CARICOM region. And so we really appreciate the work that is being done. The heads of government have also tasked, well, not us, but have tasked CARICOM with a look at establishing a single regulator as well, or consideration for more harmonized regulatory approaches and policies. And we're working with the ITU in respect of doing an assessment of where we are and the different regulatory regimes within CARICOM. And of course, as we demand from our operators that they treat the region as a single space, we also have an obligation as regulators, as government, to set the right framework in place as well, so that we are also approaching the region as a single ICT space. And at the heart of it really is to provide good quality services to our citizens, to enable them to be economically empowered, to be innovative, and to create livelihoods for themselves. And I would just reiterate that I appreciate the work you're doing. I look forward to today's discussions. And as far as I am able to, I will stick around for the entire day and perhaps even share my views as well as the issues arise. So thank you very much. I appreciate everything that you were doing. Over to you, Nigel.
Yes, thank you very much, SG. You mentioned one thing there that I think is it's not only one thing you said that might be noteworthy, but certainly that I'd like to expand on. The heads of government requesting investigation of the feasibility of a regional regulator, a single regional regulator, which of course would be a significant undertaking from a logistical and legal point of view. But certainly what we can do is work to harmonize the approaches around the Caribbean, work together as we're doing in this task force and in the steering committee with which it is associated. So I think that underlines the importance of the work that we do in this task force. And certainly the involvement, the space we make for the industry stakeholders to participate and make input would also redound to the benefit of the policies and approaches that are developed by working in collaboration. Thanks, SG. Now, basically, this is a time when we also give the chairman of the task force an opportunity. Let me say that again.
Nigel, he has joined us.
Yes, I know. I saw signs of life a few minutes ago, and he's joined now. And
morning all.
Yes, Alvin, good morning.
Yes, sir. Sorry for my tardiness, Nigel. I had some technical issues with getting the link.
Right.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes, okay. Well, you joined right on time because the CTU-SG just made some remarks.
Okay, wonderful.
Said he would try to be with us during the day to learn himself, you know, get the experience of the task force and maybe make inputs as he is able to. And basically what I'm saying though is that now is the time that we would ask the chairman of the task force basically to make some welcome remarks and as well. So you came in right on cue. So I'll introduce Mr. Alvin Augustine of ECTEL, who is the Special Management Task Force Chair, to address us.
Yes, thank you, Nigel, thank you. And morning to all my colleagues and those invited guests. It's a great pleasure as chairman of the CTU Spectrum Management Task Force to welcome each and every one to this virtual meeting. I know we have a pretty impressive agenda in front of us, and we are hoping that we could get most of the work out there. I also would like to extend a warm Caribbean welcome to those invited guests we have, Nigel, as well as our colleagues, and wish you the best in light of this global pandemic, that everyone is safe and healthy, and as people, we can move forward in achieving some of our goals as outlined by the Spectrum Management Task Force. If anything else, Nigel, I'll hand over to you. Did we do introductions?
No, we haven't done the introductions yet. That would probably be the next thing. So we could go ahead to that now. Okay, I could probably help you through that. I'll start with our CTU Secretariat. Well, I've already introduced myself. The SG as well has introduced himself and spoken. I have my colleagues. Gary, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, hi, good morning all. Gary Kalu. Well, you all know that I assist Nigel in this forum. So, Spectrum Management Assistant in this regard.
Yes. All right. Behind the scenes, we have other CTU colleagues. Richard Fivek. Richard, say hi. You have to unmute though.
Muted, Richard.
Yes, good morning, Richard Fivek, CTU, Network
Yes.
Security Analyst. Just technical support here in the background for this meeting. Thanks.
Right, and also technical support in the background, Shani Lewis.
Hello, good morning all.
All right, and we have our communication specialist also backing us up, Michelle Garcia.
Good morning, everyone. Pleased to meet you. And I would just like to ask everyone to turn on their cameras immediately after the introduction so that we can take a screenshot of this meeting. Thank you.
Yes, okay. All right, that's the CTU team. As I said, we've done the SG already. What about the vice chair group from Jamaica's Spectrum Management Authority? You could introduce yourselves now.
Good morning, all colleagues, Vice Chair, SG, welcome, Mr. Taylor. Again, all of my friends and colleagues from all over the world. I'm so happy to, be online in this virtual space with you. Today, my name is Maria Myers Hamilton. I am the Managing Director for Spectrum Management Authority in Jamaica. And with me, supporting me, I'm going to have them actually introduce themselves individually. We have
Lyndon McDonald.
We are seeing Lindell, but nobody else.
Malango.
Malango Lawson.
Peter Scott, consultant, spectrum management.
Yes,
Peter Scott. Okay, very good.
And
we're actually social distancing.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine. That's appropriate.
Actually, right here over the side. Okay.
Right. Yes. Okay. Excellent. Yes, we see you.
So thank you again, Nigel, for this honor. And I know we always get things done. We have literally under 2 years now for WRC 23. So I'm happy to see that we're here together collectively to move our agenda items forward.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Just moving along very quickly with respect to the way it appears on my screen. I'll now go to T. Kaiser. That's Tangine, I think. Please introduce yourself. Maybe you stepped away a second. All right, let me move on to Christy Chiran.
Hey, no, I'm here. It's just that
hang on, Chris.
Hey.
She's back up.
Yes. Please repeat that. We didn't hear you too well.
No, I was saying that yes, I'm here. It's just I was having some problems there with the screen and so on. I got a few problems with this laptop.
All right. Okay.
I'm here, Tangine Keiser.
Tangine Keiser from Barbados, right?
From Barbados, yes.
Yes. Okay. Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nigel. Hi, everyone. Christy Chiran, essentially an ICT consultant in the Caribbean region. I have been following the work of the SMTF over the last few years and always try to attend the working group sessions. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Carmelo.
Good morning, everyone. This is Carmelo Rivera. I am no longer a government employee at the U.S. I now work for a government contractor called ACES, that's Advantage Consulting and Engineering Services. But after having attended SMTF meetings from the very beginning of SMTF, I thought it would be a good idea to continue the practice of working with the SMTF on the WRC agenda items. So I bring with me a presentation on the WRC 23 agenda items for the SMTF to decide their prioritization of those agenda items. So I look forward to working with you along this cycle and through WRC again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carmelo. We'll go with Trevor Liebert now. You're still muted, Trevor.
Sorry about that. Good morning to all. I'm Trevor Liebert from the NTRC, St. Kitts Nevis, a technical person and spectrum management.
Thank you. George James.
Hi, good morning all. George James, NTRC Dominica. Engineer, spectrum management is one of the main functions. Yeah, it's great to be here this morning and looking forward to participate. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Edna Prado.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, I'm with the United States Department of Commerce. Good morning, all.
Good morning. Morning, Edna. Good to have you. Linda Wellstein.
Good morning. Oh.
Yes, we can see you now.
Yeah, can you see me? Hi.
Yes, we can.
Yes, hello. Welcome to my living room. Yes, we're still at office lockdown. Linda Wellstein, Moore Rodriguez International. I'm based in Washington, D.C. We also have an office in Montreal, and we have been technology attorneys representing the Caribbean for 30 plus years. We love the region. We represent a number of clients there and are always very supportive of the committee here and continue to work with them vigorously as they progress with their really many, many objectives. Thank you.
Thank you. Nadine Hull.
Hi, morning, Nigel, everybody.
Yes.
I'm Nadine Hull, NTRC St. Vincent, Spectrum Manager.
Yes, thank you. Let's go to Carlos from NOA.
Hello and good morning. I'm Carlos Flores from Department of Commerce, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or also known as NOAA, which deals with weather-related. And my former colleague, Carmelo, and also Edna is also a colleague of ours. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Brian Carter.
Good morning, Nigel. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see everyone. A lot of familiar faces, too many to mention, but I'd certainly like to recognize Secretary General Nigel and the CTU staff, as well as Mr. Alvin Augustin and Dr. Myers Hamilton. It's great to be here. My name is Brian Carter. I'm the Managing Director of Westbury Global, a consulting firm in the Washington, D.C. area, formerly with the Federal Communications Commission, and I do a number of consulting services in the region. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian. Mr. Kirk Sukram, he's a member of a steering committee right now. He's joining us. Kirk?
Thank you, Nigel. And good morning to everyone. I'm happy to see some familiar names and faces, and also encouraged to see some new names and faces as well with us. Again, my name is Kirk Sukram. I'm currently the Deputy CEO at the Telecommunications Authority of Trinidad and Tobago, and a long-standing member in the Spectrum Management Task Force. I currently sit now as a member of the Spectrum Management Steering Committee. Thank you.
Yes, and we need to convene a meeting of the steering committee shortly. We're still working on that last member, but I think we need to speed that up. Mr. Payne. Yes, please, go ahead.
Morning, Nigel. Morning.
Morning, indeed.
Yes, I'm Paul Payne. I'm with the Montserrat Info Communications Authority, or regulatory body in Montserrat. I'm currently the chairman, and I'm glad to see everybody in attendance at this meeting this time.
Thank you. Abraham Tech.
Good morning, everyone. Abraham Tech, East Public Utilities Commission.
Yes, good morning, Abraham. Good to have you. Abraham, well, no, your colleague, William
Samuels.
Yes, I saw a late registration from him. I meant to send him the link. Do you know whether he has it?
I believe I saw him on.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yes, I am online already, Nigel.
Okay, excellent. You can introduce yourself then.
Hi, I'm William Samuels, Belize Public Utilities Commission, Regulatory Officer.
All right, thank you very much. Alex Reutblatt.
Morning, Nigel. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you and be among many colleagues and friends from the past. My name is Alex Reutblatt, and I am Vice President of Regulatory Affairs for Wi-Fi Alliance, and I look forward to the discussion today.
Thank you very much. Renee Evelyn.
Morning, Renee Evelyn from the Telecommunications Regulator in Barbados.
Okay, good to have you indeed. Milicia, is that the one?
Good morning, colleagues. This is Melissa Sutherland representing Cape Town Wireless Trading as Flow in the Caribbean. I will be on camera in a bit, and then you'll get to see me better. Thank you all. It's a pleasure again to continue with the work of the task force. And of course, I am excited to see the many persons who have made it through COVID who are known to me. So this is just wonderful, wonderful news. So thank you so very much for the invitation again to the CTO, Nigel, and to new CEO of the CTO, Rodney Taylor. Thank you all very much. Looking forward to the deliberations.
Thank you, Melissa. Mr. Julian Wilkins.
Thank you very much, Nigel. Great to be here and with my colleagues from around the Caribbean. So I'm Julian Wilkins, Director of Government Affairs and Public Relations for Digicel Group. I'm also the former chairman of Canto and still director on the board of Canto. So looking forward to today's discussions.
Thank you. Conrad Toby.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Conrad Toby, the manager of Spectrum Planning and Broadcasting, and I'm here representing TAT, and I look forward to the discussion this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Conrad. Jason Haynes.
Hi, good morning, Nigel. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jason Haynes. I am a telecommunications officer with the Telecommunications Unit in Barbados. Thanks for having me here.
All right, excellent. Arden Richardson.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yes, my name is Arden Richardson, Regulatory Analyst at the Public Utilities Commission in Anguilla.
Good to have Anguilla with us. Thank you. We'll move on to Arden Valcott.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Rodney Taylor here, representing OneWeb, based in the US, and I'm part of the Spectrum team. I'm a Spectrum engineer for them. This is my first time participating, and I'm looking forward to follow the discussion. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Welcome. Gregory Nelson, BVI.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Nigel. Good to see you.
Yes, same.
My name is Gregory Nelson. I'm working at the Telecommunication Regulatory Commission, and I'm the Chief Spectrum Officer at the Commission.
Thank you, Gregory. Good to see you. Good to have you present.
Thanks.
Did I miss anyone? If there's anyone who hasn't yet had the opportunity, please do so now. Okay. Well, hearing none, I guess we're okay. And what I would do now is, well, basically kind of with the chair's lead, move on to the next agenda item, where we look at reviewing the status of items on the Task Force's Action Plan 2021.
Nigel, excuse me, before we do so, can we take the screenshot now?
Yes, you reminded me. It's a good point. Okay, yes, please. Our new group picture is a screenshot. We ask everyone please to put their cameras on. They're still coming up like Ardeni and Alex, and I don't know if Melissa is ready yet.
Okay, we're ready. Alicia, shall we wait on you?
Who's it?
No, thank you. Please go ahead.
Okay, I will take a screenshot.
say when.
Okay, I started, but I'll take a few more. Bye, everyone. Okay, I believe that's enough. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Yes, so Mr. Chair, I will assist by bringing up the
You're calling me?
and by sharing the action plan document.
Yes, thank you, Nigel. Yeah, so it was circulated in the email, right, Nigel,
Yes.
to all participants. So
yes, it was.
Okay, great.
Let me just see if
can you all mute your mics if you're not talking, please? Makes it easier for us to conduct the meeting. Thank you.
1 second. I was trying to see if I could change my view. All right, hopefully that screen is being seen.
Well, yeah, from my end, yes.
And it's legible?
Yes, it is, Nigel.
All right, excellent.
Okay, great. So everyone can see the screen, right? And this was circulated in the email by Nigel as well. So those who have the email, they can follow as well. All right, so starting off, there were some thematic areas. I think it was 4, Nigel, if memory serves right.
Well, actually, before it was, but now it's 6.
6, okay, great.
They're
Thanks for the
They're listed up there, where we're looking at regional frequency harmonization, cross-border interference, emergency communications, spectrum pricing, the WRC23 preparations, and we added back digital broadcast.
Switch. Okay, great.
So you could just go through and request the updates.
Okay, so yes, as we were saying, there are 6 main agenda or thematic areas, as Nigel indicated. Firstly, there's the RFA, the Regional Frequency Allocation Table. Secondly, it's the cross-border interference. Third, emergency communications. 4th area is spectrum pricing. The 5th area is WRC 23 preparations. And lastly, we have digital switchover. Okay, so we'll go through the agenda, the thematic areas, and we'll get updates as we go through. So first item, the RFAT. The initiative, as it's stated, is a coalition of national RFAT in a requested format by the CTU. Now, if memory serves me correct, Nigel, we did receive the NFAT from a number of our colleagues and so forth.
Yes.
The issue at hand was having it in a format that would be accessible to all members.
Right. There, and another issue is following WRC 19, members would have been also updating their national tables in accordance with it. And they need to identify the time frame for them doing so.
Yes, yes, that's correct.
Which is what we have on here. So yes, the format actually, if we go to 1.2, this one more relates to the format. So maybe we'll get to that. And this first 1.1 more relates to how soon member states, how soon do the countries plan to update their national tables?
Yes, well, I could speak as chair. I also wear hat as spectrum officer at ECTEL, and I could speak for the ECTEL member states. Currently, we are revising our FATs for the 5 ECTEL states to bring it, make it compliant with WRC 19 regulations. We are hoping to have that document available for public consultation by the first week in July. And it does take into consideration it in fact brings it up to date from, we were WRC, I believe 12, that was the last revision made. So it brings it up to date to WRC 19 requirements. So we're hoping to get that out to public consultation very soon. And when it's finalized, we will provide the CTU with a copy for posting online as well. So that's it for ECTEL. I don't know if Nigel, we would want to get where our members are in terms of updating their NFATs.
Yes, I would say so. But before we leave ECTEL, how long is that public consultation process? By when do you?
Yeah, hopefully we're hoping to use the summer months to, normally our public consultation runs about 6 weeks. So we're hoping to by the end of summer to submit to our board and council of ministers the revised FAT for the ECTEL states and hopefully get it approved and published. It did take quite a number of months. Well, to be quite honest, because of COVID, we were somewhat delayed in getting the work done. In fact, it was a consultant we hired from Canada to assist us. Part of their work program, they were supposed to have come down to do some training, but we've decided since COVID to have that change to do online presentations to stakeholders. And that would be part of the public consultation effort. So yes, part of it is to engage stakeholders and as well as our board members if there are any burning issues in terms of what the recommendations would be for the new FAT.
So you would say maybe the 4th quarter of this year?
Hopefully, yes. If we're looking at the calendar year, we should be able to be in a position to have that submitted for approval by 4th quarter and hopefully soon after that published.
All right, so I'll need to update this because we at the Secretariat didn't get notes from countries in terms of their schedule. That we are already at the 29th of June. I guess it would make sense to make this the 3rd quarter now. Oops, just a second before I do that.
Yeah, probably Gary can assist you with editing, Nigel. I mean, or is it yours?
Well, yes, it's I who I'm sharing at present. So
okay. Yeah. So in terms of the notes,
yeah. So yes, so we'll.
So in terms of the, I guess it would be in terms of when would be the requirement you'd suggest? We're looking at the 4th quarter, or do we hear from our colleagues?
We would just go. We would just go with the schedules that we get. The thing is, what we requested is, what is the schedule you're working with in your country to update your national table? That's the information we need. What is so based on what you just said from the expertise, we understand, okay, it's probably the 4th quarter of 2021. So what's the answer for Trinidad and Tobago? What's the answer for Jamaica? What's the answer for Montserrat, Grenada? Well, not Grenada, but you know, the other territories that are not not yet named.
Yeah, noted.
We would want to get back to the Secretariat. That's the information we're asking people to send to the Secretariat. Right. So,
and when do you want that sent, Nigel?
Right. Well, we were supposed to send it.
Timeline.
Yes, we were supposed to send that. We were supposed to have received it like March, but well, we haven't. So it is. I'm just requesting that we get it now within the third quarter, because some people might not have actually planned it out yet. So I'll ask that we that they send it into the Secretariat during the third quarter. Let us know when to expect your updated national tables. Right, and so that's why I changed the time frame from Q1 to Q3. Yeah.
Okay, that's noted.
Yeah, Gary.
In that Excel will not have it available by Q3 anyway.
No. What is required in Q3 is for persons to advise us of what the schedule is.
Oh, the time frame. That's what you're looking at.
Yes. What is the schedule for you to update your national table? Excel just said, well, we work with a Q4 time frame. Jamaica might have done theirs already. Trinidad and Tobago might be working with a Q2 time and so on.
Yeah,
but we just need to be told for each of the countries which, what's the schedule you're working towards. The schedule could be first quarter 2022, whatever it is that you're working with at present. We need to advise.
Jamaica has a hand up.
Yes, well.
Thank you so much for that. And Nigel, just to let this organ be aware, we actually completed our NFATs update and loaded it on our website 6 months after WRC 19. So in 2020, it was published after our band planning team went through and did all the adjustments to what was agreed at WRC. And right. We did not send you a copy. We should have sent you a copy from there, but I guess COVID took over. The other thing I'd like to also remind this organ is that we had in previous meetings discussed the possibility of creating a database, and Jamaica again to assist in creating that database for all members to load a simple flat file, which we can do in Excel. We use Excel here. So we could create an SQL. I think we had gone down the wicket with some suggestions. I'd like to also bring it back to the table that it's just a simple thing we could start with, version 1, and then we could modify it thereafter. But having the collective just even merge the tables in one general area would be a good thing for the region. Thank you for that opportunity to speak.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Chair, if I might just respond to that a second.
Yes, Nigel.
We are very happy to have the offer from Jamaica, and they've always offered their assistance. There was a setback we had when they made their first offer, in that the resources they had on hand at the time left the organization or was lost, was no longer available, let's say. So I'm happy to hear it renewed. We do have a resource challenge at the CTU Secretariat with getting this done. We'd gotten a kind of a template. Let's not say a template. It's not a database template, but it's an approach, of how do we a starter template, I think is what they call it. How do we approach the task of specifying the database that would be appropriate for our needs? And what I would ask is, and this is to SMA Jamaica, is that probably what we can do is set up a meeting to discuss that a bit. Both more details of the offer you just talked about, and the starter template that we also got from UWI St. Augustine, to see to progress this matter of developing the database. The point we are starting at is that we had developed a database in Microsoft Excel back in 2016, but I guess we didn't have the expertise to use it effectively. So if we can come up with something that is more appropriate for our uses, more easy for our members to use, we would certainly prefer to do that. So just before I scroll the screen, so this first item, we are asking again persons or countries who need to update their national tables to just indicate us when they propose to do so. And if I scroll up to the next item 1.2, which deals with the database, I guess the update here will be that the CTU Secretariat would liaise with SMA Jamaica to complete the specification requirements. So as it is right now, if I look at this if I look at this first one, what we were planning to do in the first quarter is establish the technical statement of need, structure and so on, and then research what are the appropriate software applications. What I will say in terms of an update, Mr. Chair, is that, again, SMA Jamaica and CTU will meet to try and work this out. We not quite, but we just about at the end of the second quarter. So we not, I would say we could probably hold these timeframes and take them going forward. So what we'll do is we'll just update a little bit of these statements here to include a meeting of SMA Jamaica and CTU Secretariat. All right, so we'll do the math and fix this up and format it properly after the fact.
Okay, Nigel, noted. Thanks.
Yes. So I don't think we'll need to change this schedule as we have here, because during Q3 we should still be, well, actually no, I don't think we'll be populating databases in Q3. We'll be, we will be setting up the database structure in Q3. Right, so this one would probably be more like Q4. All right, so we'll put in set up the database structure. So this would be more Q3 now here. And actually, this would be above it. All right. Okay. All right, so that updates that one.
So Nigel, the question for me is in terms of the structure or the format. I guess when you have that when the CTU has the discussion with SMA Jamaica, a determination will be made and members would be informed. The issue we have is that, well, you know it well, is that different countries use different formats. In fact, I think at one time we had agreed to a flat Excel format, if I recall correctly.
That's right.
I think in developing that format, we should bear in mind at least look at something that would be universally accepted and used by most members so that they can get the information to the CTU. So I was just like to put that out there.
Yes, point taken. I was just looking at the chat here.
Yeah, there's a note.
Unresolved issues. Mr. Chairman. Nature of the consultations that you make mention of, Alvin.
I didn't get the last part, Nigel, sorry.
I was seeing a comment in the chat where the question related to the, or there was some clarification on the nature of the consultations you were talking about.
Yeah, well, that would be ECTEL's public consultation on the on our FAT.
Oh, okay.
The ECTEL regional FAT. So it's a process we are mandated to undertake when we are developing policy, that we do public consultation and take the views therefore expressed in that in consideration of developing those policies. So likewise, when we're looking to adopt our new FAT, which would bring it up to WRC 19 compliance, we'd also put it through our public consultation before making our final recommendation to the ECTEL board and Council of Ministers.
Yeah. All right, I think we're good with the database. We know what we will be doing going forward and what the time frames will be. So this is your next one, Mr. Chair, the prioritization of the harmonization of the priority band, sorry. And this is the first one where we've developed a working group for. I'm not sure, let me see if we have any specific action that we need to update here. We did have a request from the French regulator, ANFR, seeking to harmonize the, what do you call it, the coding mechanism associated with 5G in the C-band. The ANFR wasn't able to join us at today's meeting, but they did indicate that they haven't taken any decision yet on this, and it's still open for discussion. They had submitted a paper for our consideration, and for the purpose of this meeting as well, they've also submitted a white paper, which is included of the meeting, which is on our event webpage. So if you're on the event webpage and you click documents, you will see a white paper from them, also for our consideration. What else can we say here?
And if you scroll up to the minutes of the last of the meeting, I don't know if this is just the plan you have here, or you took this from the minutes of the last meeting. You have the minutes of the last meeting. There are some items. So if you scroll up in this table, you took it out. You didn't. You're not updating it in the minutes of the last meeting. You have a separate. You have this separately.
Oh yes, I do. I understand what you say. I now understand what you
Yes.
saying. Yes, what's a note that you're talking about?
Right. So reading from the minutes, in furtherance of the work to accomplish harmonization with the specific regard to the ANFR, so that's the one you're talking about, proposed for coordination of the 34 to 3800 bands. G members were asked to indicate their ability and willingness to facilitate ANFR requests. So I guess people are still determining whether or not that could be facilitated. And further, members who are reasonably advanced in their national planning for 5G were also asked to provide any inputs before the task force to help everyone, move forward. A call was made by members for harmonization exercise for 5G bands across the region.
Okay, we have that here, Gary.
I know, no, but there's another point here about the survey. Additionally, and this is what I was getting to. Additionally, to further push forward on the regional harmonization agenda, it was agreed that a survey of the members will be conducted by the Secretariat, collaboration and members to gather information on current assignments and planned usage of the priority bands. I don't think the survey was in there. And then we had a suggestion from TAT how the survey could be carried out.
Okay. All right.
Gary, remind me, was the survey separate from the information that the members submitted to the CTU? Because I recall that that we did some work. When I say we, Ectel did some work and submitted it on in terms of assignments in the C band.
Yeah, that was prior to this.
Okay.
We have it here, though. We do have it, Gary. It's here. It's not missing. This whole item 1.3, harmonization of priority bands, right? From the, if I could just highlight it here, we've identified what the priority bands are. Members are, in fact, in the working group, we are looking to the working group to develop harmonization proposals for consideration and general acceptance. Members were asked to review the ANFR proposal again and indicate their ability or their willingness to accommodate what ANFR had proposed. That we haven't gotten any further information from members as yet. And then the other item was we were supposed to approach the ITU for assistance on this 5G harmonization. I think we started doing that. We haven't gotten a specific word back yet. And this is the survey that you just mentioned.
Right.
There was a plan to do a survey of task force members to collect info on your current assignments and plans for the identified priority bands. And I think the CTL template is what TAT would have.
Yeah.
Excuse me, yeah. Right, so that survey was planned for Q2, Q3.
For Q2, Q3.
Right, so we do it. I'll say we haven't really made progress on it yet, but I think it's something that we should keep schedule for. And then the last part of that was assessment of regional bands for
regional bands.
For example, auction. The context of that last one was a comment, I think, maybe coming out of the CARICOM Secretariat that we could identify any free bands that maybe we might be able to do a simultaneous auction over multiple countries. In that way, make it more attractive for multi-country operators for specific frequencies over multiple countries to try to generate some maybe scale as opposed to
uniformity,
individual things. Right. So I think everything is here.
Yes, there.
Captured in the action plan items. I guess it's really just a question of updates. We've started formed the working groups. In this one, TAT is the lead, and when they meet later, they could probably work with the interested parties to see what more details they could do to.
Trinidad and Tobago has the hand up, Nigel.
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you, Nigel.
Yeah.
Just to query on the same line item.
Yeah.
If you may scroll up, please. Yes, you stated here that the priority band identified as those for IMT, this was completed. Can you give an explanation on this? Whether or not the output of this particular line item was actually shared with the members concerned, and just also, and secondly, just also inform the task force. We are currently drafting our 5G framework. This is currently still in the drafting stage, and we will consider some of the funds that we may want to consider for harmonization. So this is just for the knowledge of the special task force. But can you please emphasize more on the completeness of line item 1, please?
Yes. It says completed because what was identified is specifically what's written here. What was identified wasn't a specific band like 3,400 to 3,600 or something of the sort. What we had to do was to try to harmonize the usage of certain bands that we think are in high demand. So all the bands related to MT, low band, mid band, high band, for example. It meant that we had to look at those and try to see if we could harmonize the Caribbean use of these bands across the countries. What are the bands that we need to use for emergency communications? Can we harmonize the use of these bands across our multiple countries? And then for innovation type applications, right? IoT and so on. There are proposals to use, for example, a lot of bands for unlicensed applications, right? So those are the ones that we figured that we needed to pay most attention to in terms of harmonization effort. So in dealing with, for example, the IMT bands, and in the working groups as the case might be, the desirable outcome is that we will be able to specify certain frequency ranges, specific frequency ranges, which we'll use in a certain way. So for example, if we say, just take an example, say the 700 megahertz band, right? If we can find a way that, yes, we all agree that we will make it available for IMT, and maybe we could do band planning for that band in a certain way that will accommodate a minimum of 3 competing operators. You know, that is an example of the type of output that is desirable from the consideration of these bands. So the answer in terms of why it's marked as completed there is not to say that we've identified specific frequency ranges or harmonized it at specific frequency ranges, but we've identified that these are the, maybe I say, applications, right, that we want to prioritize harmonization for. IMT, emergency communications, and the IoT and innovation bands, and bands for IoT and innovation. Right, so the priority applications have been identified, and the specific bands is the work of the task force and the working groups.
Okay, thank you, Nigel. But just to get a summary of what you're saying, so we do have a document which would have highlighted the IMT bands and the IoT bands, which the working group would have agreed as the bands for harmonization.
No. What we have is the minutes of the Spectrum Management Task Force meeting, which said that we want to identify and focus on harmonizing bands for these applications.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
So the work is still to be done. The work of say identifying specific ranges and harmonized things, a document, as you say, if it comes to that, is still before us. That's what we're trying to do. We are trying to get to a point where maybe we can do some band planning in a harmonized way.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So, Mr. Chair, this is where we are at. This is the first of the working groups, and the question is, with these items on the action plan in mind, how do we organize the work of the working group to achieve what we want to achieve? And that's what we've made time for discussion for in the specific working group in a short while. In fact, we are into the time already, so we do need to speed up a bit here.
Yeah, I was just going to say, based on the agenda, we are a bit behind, Nigel.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think the questions that are asked are relevant to making progress. So we are reasonable in terms of the schedule with this one. If we make sufficient progress today, I think we'll be able to keep the schedule going forward. So if I'll just scroll further. So we move to the next, what do you call it? Priority, thematic area, which is cross-border interference. There really isn't a lot of new work that we had proposed in here. It's really a question of us putting and updating information on the CTU website. And it was a little bit delayed because the work was being done on the CTU website, which got completed in May, I think it was, eventually. So we now have an updated website, which has some additional features in it, which we will apply to this purpose of circulating contact information. In addition, it also allows us to use some online discussion forums, which actually I'm just getting some retraining on to get it properly set up, such that in between meetings, we'll be able to continue the work of the working groups and the task force generally by using this online discussion forum feature on the CTU website. So suffice it to say, Mr. Chair, that I don't think there's a lot that is requires substantive work of the task force left here in the cross-border interference thematic area, except that we at the Secretariat might be asking you for to update certain contact information. So we probably might need to spend too much time on this. Also, I see Mr. Supram has raised hand. Go ahead, Kirk.
Hi, thanks, Nigel. Yeah, just to say with regards to the cross-border interference from Trinidad and Tobago's side, in terms of a coordination agreement that we would have signed with France in relation to the UHF spectrum for digital terrestrial television. We're working towards making that agreement available on our website, along with our write-up. So that should happen within the month of July, and once that's posted on our website, we can share it to the members here through the CTU.
All right, thank you very much. And actually, that's one of the things that is listed here, that members would share such arrangements whenever they enter into them. So yes, if not, well, I guess you would put it on your own websites as well. But in addition to that, there will be an opportunity to also have a common repository on the CTU website for all the individual country agreements.
Yeah. Agreed, Nigel. That's a good idea as well.
Yeah. All right. So what I will do, Mr. Chair, in the interest of time, is that we'll review the timeframes here to see what updates might be required, and circulate it afterwards.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Nigel.
So like, as I say, it was just basically getting focal points from you all and any updates from you all, and then CTU posting it on the website for general reference. All right. That's so that this one isn't too controversial. This third thematic area, we do have a working group established. But we'll get to that in a minute. 3.1 is focal points for emergency communications. And again, it's a question of member states updating us in terms of what, any changes in contact information. The action here was to post it on the CTU website. And as I said, it didn't happen in Q1 because our website really became functional. I think it was late May. So it's now on our plate to get it done. So we will have to slip this a bit onto probably the third quarter. The other actions relate to accession to the Tampering Convention and the International Amateur Radio Permit. We have some actions planned to, again, bring this back to our General Conference of Ministers meeting in September of the CTU. So that's specific here. These actions are noted here already. And all the actions are taking place in Q2 and Q3. So I don't think we need to adjust any time frames here. Right? Part of what we need to do is follow through on the actions required to raise the profile again of these two conventions, the Tampering Convention, the International Amateur Radio Permit. So we'll, at the Secretariat, will liaise with IAMU and whomever else we need to in order to get this addressed. The main part is harmonization, well, I guess identification and harmonization of the band plans for emergency communications. This one, Mr. Chair, is the working group that ECTEL is leading. And I know ECTEL had been doing some work on this prior. I believe, I'm not sure if it's in concert with the French territories or not. Excuse me a second. Yeah. That was a little distraction I had, unfortunately, sorry. Yes, so you had mentioned before that ECTEL was doing some work with respect to emergency communications.
Nigel, in terms of ECTEL, I could speak to that. What has happened and it has happened basically, individual member states of ECTEL have gotten support from the ITU. It first happened with Dominica. The ITU had a regional workshop on disaster communication in Dominica, I believe sometime in 2019. And from there was certain courses of actions that were decided on. One of it was to for Dominica to develop a national emergency telecommunications plan. I think though that work has been advanced by the government of Dominica, of course, with the support of ECTEL. The other member state to follow suit was St. Lucia, which also hosted, this time it was an online ITU facilitated national workshop or conference where they were exploring developing a national emergency telecommunications plan. And part of that work process was that the government of St. Lucia would also look to sign on to the Tampering Convention. I think that is with the Ministry of External Affairs, between the Ministry of Telecommunications and the Ministry of External Affairs, to accede to the Tampering Convention. The work on the National Emergency Telecommunication Plan, it's going through, I think, a public consultation right now. As for where exactly the work stream is, I'm not at liberty to say, but they have done quite a bit of work on developing that plan. Part of the issue they're facing right now is delegating which ministry is actually responsible for updating that plan. I think between the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Ministry of Telecommunications, they're trying to get that straightened out. But definitely Dominica, St. Lucia, they have gone and started work at developing emergency communications. And finally, I'd just like to add, part of the ECTEL's work is to look at robustness of telecommunications networks, the public telecommunication network. It's work we're doing in collaboration with the World Bank under the Caribbean Digital Transformation Program. And one of the work items is to look at our telecommunication network, the resilience of it, and develop a plan in terms of response to disasters and emergency communications for those networks and their robustness in light of all the issues we're facing with storms, tropical storms and hurricanes, earthquakes and volcanoes. In light of what's happening in St. Vincent, I think that work item is a priority for us as one of our member states has been affected and is currently on the what's the term, Nadine? It's on the
emergency something.
Well, there's a term. I don't want to get it wrong, but essentially, it's in the throes of ongoing natural disaster, and we're trying to look at. Although based on the reports we've gotten, there hasn't been much impact to the national telecommunication infrastructure, but in terms of persons that were displaced, especially those who had to leave their native country and move to other, whether it's other Caribbean territories or outside of the region, the whole issue of how do they communicate, and this whole issue of regional roaming. I know that has come up quite a bit at the CARICOM level, but this all brings to light these issues, especially when persons have to up and leave due to natural and man-made disaster. What becomes of, how do they communicate, and what becomes of their, their normal life processes, how do you access your bank accounts, all these issues. So it has brought to light all these issues, and we are trying to resolve some of these, especially around telecommunications and how people communicate if they are not within their own islands or their own territories. So, yeah.
Okay, understood. So as emergency situations, indeed. Can I ask a question specific to the spectrum aspect of it? The National Emergency Telecoms Plans.
Yeah, go ahead, Nigel.
But are they identifying bands, spectrum bands, or specific ranges for use for emergency communications?
Yes, part of it is, yes, they're looking at identifying a wide range of bands, both for narrow band and broadband communications, and the systems that would use it, who would be authorized in terms of, you know, police, you know, the emergency response apparatus.
Yeah.
And public safety generally. And part of it is how do we harmonize those bands across not just the English-speaking Caribbean, but also the other the overseas European territories, because you would appreciate that some of the islands have European overseas territory as neighbors who would also respond to those emergencies, and their radio communication system might be based on ITU Region 1 spectrum allocations versus ITU Region 2 allocation. So this whole issue of how do we try to harmonize or make allocations for those frequency bands, that's something that has come up.
All right, well, that could be a discussion in the working group.
Yeah, most definitely, Nigel. We need to get some work done on this. It has been identified as priority by our governments, and they would like some movement on it.
Okay. I saw a comment from Kirk Sukram that we may need to adjust some of the timeframes of the activities, but we can do that. We can look at that after the working group discussion. Maybe we can get some more specific suggestions in that regard. All right, so as I say, we could take this up further in the working group discussion. In emergency communications, there are other areas, network resilience and the maritime bands work. I didn't see, Kim Maliu gave information beforehand that she had she's registered for the meeting, for this meeting, but she had a conflict early on. She said she would be joining maybe after 11:30. So I don't know if she would have any update on this particular survey, but I don't think really we've started making any progress on the survey as yet of maritime bands. With respect to the network resilience one, 3.5, again, we're supposed to post it on the CTU website. I believe it's there now under our resources. Is that what we call it, Richard? Resources on the website? Document resources or something? The report of the Commission on Caribbean Communications Resilience, the CCCR report. But if anyone wants to see it and it's not accessible to them, just send us a note. Oops, I just mentioned.
Yeah,
mentioned Kim, and she just right on cue, just like Alvin earlier this morning, just as about to.
Hi. Actually, sorry. Actually, Nigel, I'm still at the tail end of the OECD meeting, so I was just checking that I have the access stuff. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to come in.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Okay, good. All right, yes. Yes, so that That report should be available on the CTU website. And if you have any need to contact us on it, we're right here. So we could get any update on that maritime survey when Kim becomes available. Mr. Chair, in the spectrum pricing, one was to reassess what we had planned from the strategic plan. I don't think there was a lot specific that we could have done. Is there anything new that we need to determine? And I suppose and also approaching ITU on further training. That contact has been made, but we haven't actually worked out an arrangement as yet.
Yes.
Gary, I don't know if there's any comment.
But yeah, we reviewed, we had a, in terms of the first item, is strategic trust.
Yeah.
To relook the strategic plan to see if there was anything. And we did that. And there was, as I said, it's pretty much exhausted from that. But I think moving forward, there were different items like how do we, price spectrum for 5G, for instance. So there were more current issues that and I think that that's the areas that we really needed to focus on moving forward.
Yeah, that's the challenges, and persons had made mention that in fact, I think Barbados has specifically complained that they had a request from a potential spectrum user for which their existing formulas were not appropriate.
Yes.
Formulas were not appropriate. So it's a question of finding new ways and means of pricing spectrum, especially, for example, the high band spectrum related to 5G. And this would be some of the things that would be taking the attention of the working group that we've developed. So may I suggest, Mr. Chair, that SMA Jamaica probably could make mention in terms of what thoughts they had in mind in terms of the working group session related to pricing.
Thank you for that, Nigel. So we have a presentation. We have two presentations actually, but as I shared before, there is some sensitive data in one of them. So we'll do a high-level presentation on the methodology, and then of course we can possibly talk around the other matters because you all share, I think, pretty much the same players in the market, digital and flow. And we have our data as relates to those parties in our region. But I wouldn't share that information because again, it's really confidential. But we have a general local market space and how we ended up where we did in terms of our recommendation to cabinet when we presented, as well as what legislation had to be changed to facilitate these pricing changes in the market space. So that's the approach, Nigel, or open discussion after presentation.
And I know you had a recent tender, I guess you could call it.
Oh yes, a very successful one actually.
Right, so you could probably say how that worked out for you.
Definitely. Quite a bit is actually happening in the local sphere. I mean, when I look at what we have achieved over COVID, it's just absolutely amazing. We're also doing the digital switchover. We established a standard for DXO as well. Just finished a concept paper for digital radio as well. So quite a bit has been happening in this space.
Right. Okay, excellent. Mr. Wilkins, you have a comment?
Yes, thank you, Nigel. I guess I've got to say, reluctantly, that I don't think we've made much progress in this area of looking at harmonization of spectrum prices throughout CARICOM. To be honest, and we're actually, in a few days' time, we'll be in Q3. It's disappointing not to hear that we've got at least a training or guidance workshop on the ITU on pricing methodologies. I think that's, you know, it's come up before previously, the vast difference between our countries in the Caribbean in terms of pricing, the difference in methodologies, the challenges we've got with 5G in terms of the mid-range and the high-range frequencies. How do we treat with those? And I just don't see, you know, any progress sort of made in this area. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I do think there's a lot of argument there. I guess it's a question of working with the resources that you have and trying to see what's the best we can get out of them. So it's certainly we were looking for by now, Q2 2021, to maybe have identified some particular trainings. So I mean, it certainly would have been nicer for us to be able to move faster, but you know, I'm not despondent. I think there are still I don't want to say hope. We still fully expect to make significant progress on this matter during this time frame. But your point is noted and accepted, actually.
Thanks, Nigel.
With respect to, right, so I was saying in terms of the working group, that will be an opportunity for us to have some discussions and sharing experiences among the countries with respect to what they're doing to address these challenges with respect to appropriate pricing for the new services. In parallel with that, we are working on the ITU side, and there might even be another option that we can pursue as well. Well, CTU Secretariat will be pursuing things depending on the resources that we have at our disposal. ITU helps us, and ITU is usually one of the lower cost options. But who knows? In the past, we've been able to contract services privately that are appropriate to the purpose. So work is going on in parallel. So hopefully we'll see something positive come out of it. In the coming weeks. Is it? You mentioned, Gary, earlier with the strategic plan thing. There wasn't anything significant for us to bring forward?
No.
There? Right.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So it's really a question of fostering.
Yes, moving forward.
More the 4.2, the moving forward. So and on that we're working with the ITU, and on that with the working group discussions. Hopefully we might get some other ideas coming out of there. In terms of the time frames written there, I don't know if there's anything
we could change. Yeah,
we need to change there. All right. So we're still working on those. Mr. Chair, we talk about WRC 23, which the Vice Chair has already
Nigel,
attention.
The
Yes.
Chair had to step away for a couple of minutes.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Alvin stepped away for a couple of minutes.
Okay, I missed that then. Well, Madam Vice Chair, just keep me honest in terms of moving forward here in anything I might say. The WRC 23 preparations item has already been brought to light, made mention of by the Vice Chair. We have to identify our priority agenda items. We will make some progress on that this afternoon when we start looking at them and getting inputs from GSMA and the Global VSAT Forum, among others. And then over the time, we'll be formulating harmonized Caribbean positions going forward. In the past, with respect to WRC preparations, when we've identified agenda items of priority, we've assigned members of the task force as lead and vice lead, or chair and vice chair for those specific items. And I expect we'll be doing that again going forward once the particular items are identified. So we don't have a very specific time frame identified here beyond Q1 to Q4. So we'll start the work this afternoon and continue it going forward, both at meetings and in between meetings via the online discussion forums that are being set up. And finally, the last thematic area is the planning of the digital broadcasting switchover item. We don't have a working group for this per se. So, and at this point in time, we are taking we can't take comments from anyone in the task force. The Vice Chair mentioned that they've, in Jamaica, have decided on a standard, and that they could probably share with the rest of the task force as we address this in a little more specifically. Maybe if there is a document that they could share that could be used as a basis to, a starting point, a point of departure for discussions within the task force, I think that would be useful.
We noted. We have actually a document that we can share.
All right, excellent, thanks.
Yes, fact-finding, because we actually did consultation and everything. The team really pushed through, with COVID. So we have a document that we can share.
And I think that would be welcome. I know some years ago, Telecom Authority of Trinidad and Tobago also had extensive consultations with the industry. And I don't know if there's anything that's going on now in Trinidad and Tobago in this regard, but as I say, it would be a point of departure for the discussions. We do have the CBU, a member from the CBU as a member of the task force, but I don't think he's present today. If so, if he is, just now is the time to speak up, but I don't think he's present today, and they would be one of the key stakeholders, the key stakeholder, I think, on this thematic area. So we'll definitely have to bring them in. Let me check the chat. Oh, okay, yes, Alvin did step away for a second. Oh, and our SG, Rodney Taylor, shared in the chat the link to the CTU document repository on our revised website, where I think you can find documents of interest, for example, including that CCCR report. Okay, All right, Madam Vice Chair, the intention in terms of the agenda was to do as we did, kind of flip through quickly, a little more quickly than we actually did. The specific items on the action plan, maybe taking some quick updates, which we were able to do in 1 or 2 cases, but then to go into the working groups where there'll be a more detailed discussion on specifics. So at this point in time, we are a little bit late. We are now at 11:41. I want to suggest that we still take maybe an hour in the working groups and come back at 12:41 and then have a short 15-minute feedback period before we take the 1 hour break for lunch. If that is acceptable to everyone, let me ask my technical support guys. I'm not sure who would say, whether it's Richard or Shanae or whomever, in terms of how we self-assign to the working groups. The one thing I would ask though is that we're breaking up into 3 working groups. One dealing with the priority bands, like for example, 5G, IoT, and I forget the third one. The second group deals with emergency communications, and that's the one to be led by ECTEL. The first group is led by TAT, and then there's the third group, which is dealing with spectrum pricing, which would be led by SMA Jamaica. What I would ask is that we, try to split into groups such that we don't necessarily overload one group or the other, but I do bear in mind that persons would have certain interests in mind. So,
Nigel, hi, morning Nigel, just before we move on. Nigel, I think about 2 or 3 meetings ago, folks had identified the working groups that they were interested in. I think they actually had names. Am I mistaken?
Yes, but there weren't, if I scroll up, for example, this working group on pricing, working group, SMA Jamaica lead, TAT was interested, Digicel was interested, but TAT is also, we can have representatives from the organizations in multiple groups, right? So, and the groups are not closed. These were just the ones who spoke up first and who agreed to take leading roles, right? So SMA Jamaica would lead this, but this is not to say that another member of SMA Jamaica mightn't want to participate in another of the working groups.
Understood. So we do recognize the selections that had made previously, but folks can go to any group they're interested in.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Nigel. Thank you.
You can. Right. So for in emergency communications, for example, ECTEL is leading. We had TAT, SMA, UE, and Grenada were interested in working in this particular group. And in the previous one,
Belize, I believe. CW Belize.
IMT and IoT innovation bands. It's TAT is the lead. CNW had indicated interest here, Belize, and ECTEL as well. So, as I said, the way the mode we're using today is we having simultaneous breakouts, so people would have to make a selection. So if I could get some advice from my colleagues now in terms of how individuals can particular groups.
Yeah. Richard?
Yeah, hello?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll open the rooms, and if we need to assign people, we'll just assign them straight away. Or if you have the option to choose which room you want to be assigned to, you just select that room that you're interested in.
Okay, so I have a window on my screen now which says breakout rooms in progress, and a list of persons, and everybody has not joined yet. All right, now if I want to join a particular group, Down at the bottom of the list, I'm seeing the names of the working groups, right? And is it just a question of click and join for me to join that particular group?
When you click assign, you'll see the rooms pop up to the side, and you just click assign. You just click which room you want to go into. So, for example, if I choose one of these names down here and click assign, I'll see the 3 rooms pop up to the side, and I can just go into one of them.
All right. So everyone should be seeing the breakout rooms in progress window on their screens now, I'm asking.
Yes, I'm seeing it here.
All right, good. And when I scroll down to the bottom of that, I am seeing the different working groups. I see I can see, for example, working group and IMT and an option to join to the right of it. So I could join that group. So the request to you then, to everyone in attendance, is to select now a working group to break out to, and the working groups will proceed from now until 12:45, when they will close or when you will have you would have joined back to the plenary. Okay. Kirk, you have a question.
Hi, Nigel. Just checking to see whether or not there is going to be recording of the sessions in the breakout room.
No, in the breakout rooms, we decided not to do recording. So speak freely.
Okay. All right. I guess the chair will have to identify someone to take some notes then on the discussions. Understood.
Okay. Yeah.
And then,
I guess so.
And then present.
Yeah. The intention is that after the breakout rooms, we come back in plenary, and any significant points coming out would be recorded in the plenary.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And the secretariat staff would move between rooms to provide any logistical support that might be required.
So the groups are filling up quite.
Yeah, people are.
Yeah, moving in, but I guess as anticipated, well, I guess it's filling up kind of equally.
Yes.
Nigel.
Yes, we have
yeah,
the main room.
Yeah, the room closed on us. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so Nigel, yeah.
I must apologize. I must apologize to my members. The room closed unexpectedly, so the members of the harmonization group, I so apologize for that.
Well, not at all, Conrad. We had a countdown. We had a timer that was showing us a second, so we just maximized it. Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he missed it.
Yeah.
He was busy cheering, so
yes, he was busy cheering indeed. That's very good. So actually, so we're back in the main room now, and really in this 15 minutes is really a question of any salient points that people might want to report back to the full group, and in particular, if there's any specific change you want to recommend to the action plan timeframes or points that you want to bring to our attention at this point. So I guess maybe since I'm speaking, I'll probably just say a few words on behalf of the Emergency Communications Group chaired by Alvin, who came in towards the end. There was some of what Alvin and I had spoken about was discussed in the meeting just prior to his joining, related to the use of emergency communications frequencies in the different territories. And it was noted that because different band plans have been applied to in the different territories, that we do have some divergence in use of emergency communication frequencies. And part of the work of this working group would be to, I guess, minimize divergence going forward. Try and find ways to harmonize the use of emergency frequencies among countries going forward. We also, Arvin, prior to your joining, noted that some emergency systems were in good stages of implementation in various territories. For example, there was the WinLink system in operation now in Dominica, St. Kitts, Nevis, and Barbados.
Yes.
All right. We've also in the chat in the group, which we didn't get a chance for you to notice. In fact, you might not have been able to see it because you joined after it was posted. There was some specific information posted as to frequency bands used in Trinidad and Tobago and Dominica in particular, and the differences as were noted. We had also information links provided to the FCC website, where there is also some information related to emergency communications there as well. We didn't have any changes to recommend to the action plan document. Any other thing you want to add, Alvin, as well?
Yeah, thanks, Nigel. Yeah, and that was very useful information. Yeah. Again, yeah, I came in a bit late, but what I was saying, you basically summed it up well, especially where it came to the different territories adopting different band plans, whether it be 700 with the ECTEL states going with the US, Trinidad, ATP, and so on. So there's some divergence there. And within the US, there's US band 700 band plan. There's some allocation for emergency communication, which the ECTEL states are trying to further align themselves to, so that we can benefit from the economies of scale in terms of equipment and the services. So we would, for countries that haven't adopted, let's say 700 band plan or still considering it, we would try to see how best we could bring together that knowledge so that we could look to having a harmonized plan in terms of our emergency disaster response. Because we've realized that, especially where it comes to overseas response, that sometimes it would be the European overseas territory like the British or the French who may respond, and their radio equipment may have some issues working within the member territories. So it's something that we have been paying special attention to, and we're trying to find the best way to resolve those issues. Of course, we do, thing about it is we do share our frequency plans with our neighbors, like the French overseas territory, so that they know beforehand what our spectrum is.
Right. Okay. One thing I'll mention in terms of the CTU Secretariat is that we'll make a discussion thread available for the working groups so that we can continue, you can continue to advance discussions in between meetings. And I'll communicate further on that afterwards. Okay, so we did have two other working groups, one on IMT and so on, that was chaired by Conrad, I guess. So Conrad, maybe you could give any salient points coming out of the discussion.
Yes, thank you, Nigel, and good afternoon to everyone. So Yes, the working group as related to harmonization of priority bands, right? I want to, first of all, like to recognize the contribution of all the members of this group, and thank you all for your contribution. I will also like to inform our task force that basically one of the salient point coming out of the discussion this morning is basically we cannot harmonize unless we first identify what we want to harmonize. So it was agreed by all members that we need to first identify the bands for IMT, emergency comm, and IoT. And once we have identified the various bands, then we can discuss the development and consideration for harmonization of a proposal. But also we must also remember that there are members as a part of Region 2 that may not be part of the CTU or may not be within this discussion. So we may need to think about where we can consider also the input from other members of Region 2, right? In our harmonization process for the priority bands. So going forward, we agreed that members of the group will share the various bands for the various services for harmonization as related priority bands. And first, we will collate a document, put together a document that identifies these bands in order to fast track our discussion in harmonization. So this is where we are right now. There will be some offline meetings to forward the work of the working group and to have the discussion continues. So I will look forward to the contribution of all the members again, sharing with me and other members the bands identified as priority bands for the various service within this working group. So thank you, Nigel. That is where we are at the moment, and we will proceed to the work offline, and we just need the guidance for coordinating that work too.
Okay, very good. What I would say is that maybe not every single communication that you have within the group, but whenever there is a significant output or document or something that you want to share, we can put that on, again, on the discussion forum so that you can get some additional inputs coming in. So the Secretariat is there to assist in that regard.
Thank you so much, Nigel.
And the last one was the spectrum pricing. Would SMA Jamaica be saying something there in terms of feedback from the discussion?
Yes, Nigel. So we had spent most of the session just looking at the SME's recent pricing framework, new pricing policy, and members of the group were able to ask questions as we go along to kind of get some appreciation of the rationale why certain things were approached in the way they did. Pretty much the prices covered mobile fixed services and satellite services. And coming out of the meeting is that in compliance with the first action matter in terms of having regulators share their current pricing methodologies, then certainly persons would share their methodologies. We would compile them for the benefit of the group and see where we go from there, with the end game in view is to ensure that we have some kind of a common pricing guidance for the region.
Right.
Also, in relation to a piece of work which was done under the CPU harmonization project led by Mr. Adrian Foster, where there was a spectrum pricing framework, so if you recall that. But yeah, we would not be starting from scratch really. We have some framework in which to operate, and we would build, see how best we could implement those recommendations.
Yes, there were definitely some spectrum pricing principles that we identified and agreed upon. It was just before the, I guess the 5G came out though. So 5G might have introduced some new wrinkles that might not have been considered when we did that back in 2016. So, but as you said, we're not starting from scratch. I think most of the principles would still be quite applicable going forward.
I think so as well. I think notwithstanding the new buzz on 5G, I think the principles will still hold firm. And certainly if there was anything additional, it would not be difficult to integrate.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much. Well, Mr. Chair, it sounds like the first round of working group meetings there made some progress. I hope it sounds encouraging to you, and we put it back in your hands now in terms of taking us through to the break.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Nigel, and thank you, the leads of those working groups on the progress you have made, and would encourage you all and members to keep the work moving. All right, so Nigel, what's on the agenda now?
Well, it's a break. we've done the 3 hours from 10 to 1. We're taking a 1 hour break before we come back for the presentations this afternoon.
So we'll be so it's about 1 o'clock right now. So
yes,
an hour. So we could say we resume at 2 in the afternoon.
Yes.
An hour from now then, for those who are in a different time zone.
Yes.
So I'd like to thank everyone for their contribution and their patience with me. It's been a kind of hectic day, but I think on the guidance of the CTU, especially Nigel, we're making good progress. And we'll see in an hour's time. Do have a good lunch.
Yes. Yes. So
and thank you again, Nigel.
Same sir. Okay, no problem at all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
See you in a little
Yes.
bit. Take care.
See you in a little bit.
At 2.
We actually, I think we'll leave the meeting open and we'll just put on a hold slide.
Okay, great.
You
right,
to disconnect and reconnect.
Okay, great. Thanks. See you all too.
Yeah.
Okay.